Hi there, I'm MadHatter, and if you were watching my last video, we built this trading hall, which is behind me here. And today, what I want to do is build a breeder, which is fully integrated with a trading hall, and will provide you with villagers to put into your slots. And that's done automatically through trading hall. So if you've not seen the previous two videos, it's actually video 3 out of a 4-part series. Go back, check the playlist, and have a look at the 2 previous videos. And then come back here and we'll make our breeder.
Okay, so let's dive straight in.
Okay, so we're getting straight into the build, and the first thing we have to do though is actually break some stuff, because when we first made this, we put in a temporary circuit here to set off our minecart when you drop a villager into here, and we are going to get rid of that for the time being. So I'm going to break all of this up here, like so, and I can go along here as well and break this, come down and break all of that, go to this dust, go to this dust, break these blocks back so that it's the first block after the glass, just here. Actually, I do want a solid block there. I'm going to put a dispenser on that, and I'm going to put a dirt block. I'm using grass, but you can use dirt, just here. And we're going to put a couple of bone meal stacks into that dispenser. So whenever we call for villager, that dispenser will bone meal some twisted vine, which I've got here, and that will grow up and it'll trigger our breeder up in the sky to do something. Okay, so that's step 1. Now the second thing I want to do is we're also going to get rid of this under here and this. I'm going to break my minecart for the time being, break this, and we're going to bring this round a corner so it goes 1 block more over this side, like so. And I'm going to put a solid block just here, like so. Okay. So this solid block now will set off the minecart. The minecart's going to be here at this point, because our villagers are going to drop from the sky straight down here into a hole we built there. So to do that, let's grab some glass, and we're going to make this hole. So I'm going to just build 3 high here. Put a glass block there, and 1, 2, 3 high here, 1, 2, 3 high here, and I want to put a button on this block above the minecart, and I'm going to put a repeater down here, and then I'm going to put a string, some string above the button, like so. And we're going to watch that with an observer. Okay, so this observer will see when this string is triggered, which happens when a villager falls down. And I want to waterlog that string. So just grab a bucket of water, like so, and waterlog that string. Okay, so that's straight in front of your observer. We're now going to put a another block. Got a block down here behind the repeater. Put redstone dust on that. Put a solid block above it, and we're now going to put a block here. You can put a repeater here, or you can put another observer, it doesn't really matter. So I put a repeater if you like. Okay, so that will now trigger our minecart to set off. Actually, one thing I need to do, I need to set this to 4 ticks. So, sorry, remember to do that. It's going to be 4 ticks, or else the minecart won't actually set off. Okay, there we go. So that's the circuit now, which is going to trigger our villagers set off, and then just build 2 glass up above here, like this. The next thing I'm going to do is hook up the villager call line. So this is the villager call line for these 2 modules over here. This one is the villager call line for this first module along here. So we just need to hook that up to the dispenser as well. And I'm going to come up by, so this is the first block, 2, 3, 4, 5, stepping up like so. And we need to leave a hole here. So we're going to make sure we don't put anything in front of there. So we're going to come across here, like so, 1 more. And then we're going to come down and across like that. And I can put redstone all along here to connect that up with our villager call line. So that will now trigger the dispenser whichever module calls for villager. Okay, now we need to go inside, and we're going to go to this front left corner here. And you might have decorated this differently to me, but we're going to orient ourselves around this button here, which is the Call Zombie button on the first module on the left. And what I want to do is place a block down in the corner there. So it's 1, 2 down from the button and 1 across. Okay. Put 2 glass blocks on top of that and put a redstone lamp. Have I got a lamp? No. Grab a lamp. Put a redstone lamp above that. So go to water for now. Redstone lamp just above here like this. I want to put a dirt block here for the time being. And then we're going to put 2 droppers across like this. Going into this dropper, I want a hopper. I'm going to have a double chest above that. Chest as well. So double chest above this hopper. And I need to break this so I can get down and put an observer facing up just here. So looking at that chest. And this basically is an auto dropper. It's very, very small. It's a Bedrock exclusive as well. You can't do this on Java because on Java an observer won't detect items coming in or out of a chest. And what happens is as you put items in, the observer will detect it. It'll power both of these, and as items flow out through the hopper, the observer keeps powering the droppers, and it pushes them out into this block. And they will end up on top as long as you have blocks all the way around here. Okay, so you've got to have blocks all the way around this one, and we can do that by putting, I'm going to use a stair here and here. So now this block is fully surrounded and items will end up on top. Okay, we can now decorate this a little bit. So I'm going to put a solid block just here. I'm going to put a couple of glass blocks above the chest so I can still open them. And I want to have a lamp just there. Now we're going to fill this in along here. And this is kind of decorative really, so it's up to you how you want to do it. But we're going to fill all of this in like so. And then I'm going to put stairs along here and down here. Okay, so these stairs allow us to walk into what's going to be our bubble column. So break this block above here and you'll see we've got sky access above that. Okay, so let me just demonstrate. If I put some items into here, they should now end up coming out of here. And the one thing about this particular auto dropper is you will always end up with, sorry, that one. You will always end up at the end with 1 item in each dropper. But that doesn't really matter. You know, we're talking about carrots here, so it's not a big deal if we lose a couple of carrots along the way. Right, take those. Put a button. Oh, sorry, that was a solid block. Put a button on the side here. Just there, and that's going to stop water coming out. And we're also going to put a glass block here with a button on there as well. Okay, now you might want to move this Call Zombie sign. I'm going to just shift it down to here, I think. There we go. So that's my Call Zombie button there. I can get rid of that one. Because I want to put signs onto here. And we'll fill that in a moment. Here and here. Okay. Okay, I rest my signs, and just bear in mind that you've got to use just one type of food, so whether that's carrots or beetroot or potatoes is fine. Don't use bread, but use one of those 3 I've just mentioned. And you put that on the sign. So low on carrots when lit for this lamp. Input carrots here into that chest. And on this one, I've said no adult villagers available when lit. So this will tell you that there are no villagers available in the breeder, grown-up villagers, for your trading hall yet. So you have to wait a little while. Okay, these lamps aren't going to light themselves, so we need a way to light them up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. And I'm going to put a redstone dust on top of this block above that lamp. And I'm going to power that from a comparator. And I want 2 daylight sensors behind that. And another redstone on the side there. Put this on subtract mode. And put these into night mode, so it should be blue. Okay. So at the moment, that's not lit, but we'll sort it out when we build the breeder up top. And then over here, I've got another lamp which is just there. I'm going to break this, this, and this for the time being. Put a solid block on top of there, and I'm going to come out 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And we're going to put our 2 daylight sensors here in night mode. I'm going to have a comparator, a dust here, and put that into subtract mode. And the point of this circuit is that if you have a solid block above this one, anywhere above that one, then the comparator will light up, and it doesn't matter how high that block is, and it doesn't matter whether it's day or night either. That will always work. Okay, so that's a good way of signaling wirelessly from the top of the world down to the bottom of the world if you want, and that's what we're using here. I'm just going to take a quick time out, because the next thing we want to do is build a bubble column, and there's a couple of ways of doing it, and you can basically build a tower like this. And the way I've done it is I've built it with fences on one of the 4 sides, and I've also got, because we have this in our real build, I've got a twisted vine just here, and we can grow that twisted vine just by spamming it with bone meal, and it'll grow up quite high. And we can use that to get up and down without, you know, falling to the ground. So that's quite useful when we're building, but build your glass tower like this. And we can also use the fact we've got the fences here to access into the bubble column. Okay, so 2 ways to make this. One is to use ice. And if you just build up with ice, and this won't work for me because I'm in creative, but in survival, when you break the ice, it'll turn into water source blocks. And we need water source blocks all the way up to the top of the bubble column. And the other way of doing it is to go up to the top, drop a water in the top, and come back down. And then when the water gets down to the bottom, you plant a kelp plant here. You'll need to do that on dirt. And if you bone meal the kelp, it'll grow. And as it grows, it turns that flowing water into water sources. But the kelp will grow a random amount between 1 block and 25 blocks, and then it'll stop. But you can start off again just by climbing up here, breaking the top, coming back down, and that'll allow you to grow it some more. And obviously we're not having much luck with this kelp. It's been a bit lazy. Oops, I've broken my vine as well. But eventually you can grow that up all the way, okay? And it's raining twisted vine on me. So that's one way to do it, and we're going to do it over here. So essentially going to build our bubble column up above this space here. So where we had the dirt block in the bottom there, and we're going to build it from this level. You can see I'm on Y level -51 in the top left corner. We're going to go up by 80 blocks. You could go higher if you want, don't go less. So we're going to go up by 80 blocks. That will take me to 29. Okay, good. So the column will go up like this, like this, like this. And it's going to go on top of the dispenser. And we're just going to build up like that. And like I said, you can, if you want, put one side as a set of fences, and you might just find it easier to then build or to fill the water into your bubble column. I can't do it. There we go. You can have one side as fences if you want. I want it to look a bit neater, so I'm going to do it with glass. Okay, and I'm going to build all that up. Once it's all built, I'm going to put a soul sand in the bottom here to turn it into a proper bubble column. Okay, so there's my finished bubble column. It goes up all the way up there. As you can see, I bone mealed a twisted vine to give me an easy route back down as I was building it. And I've put a soul sand in the bottom here. So now if I go into this, you will see that we can go all the way up like so. And there we are, one bubble column. It's time now to build some accommodation for our breeding villagers. And I'm starting on the side of the bubble column, which kind of faces towards the trading hall. So this is the back of the trading hall over this side. This orange blob in the middle is the front. So I'm going to count down to the 9th block. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Come out by 3. You can go to those 2 blocks. I'm going to place a temporary block on here. And I'm going to come to the side of that and count up by 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing here. Go around the other side. And we're just going to mirror that. So come up by 7 there. And again, just here. But what I want to do is actually break out, not the bottom block, but these 2 here. Okay. So it should look like that now. Over here, I want 1, 2 blocks, and then round the back here, we're going to come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks to here. Now place 1, 2, 3 going across the back like that, and this is where our villagers are going to sit for ready to breed. Okay. On the front here, I can go to that temporary block now, I think. So on the front here, then we're going to go up by 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like so. Place a button on this bottom block. So just above where our babies are going to drop down. So we're going to fall down from the breeder into here. That'll be our babies. I want another button on this block on the side, and that means that when I put water here, I cover this with glass blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when I put water in here, level with this second glass block up, that'll flow along to there and stop. So you should have something that looks like this now. Put a string on here with an observer looking at that string. And then I want a glass pane on top of the string. And we're going to put temporarily, we're going to put a piston, just normal piston, on top of there with a button on it like so. And a glass block above that button. So what we want to do is basically load our villagers into this hole here. But first we're going to put a dispenser facing towards where the heads will be, and I want to put a hopper facing into the back of that. So be careful you don't drop loads of water, but I'm just going to do it like that. That hopper is facing into this dispenser. So to bring my villagers across, I'm going to lift this up by a couple of blocks and then come across like so. And I'm going to put some sides. Where they're going to come? They're going to come along here. Yeah, so I want sides along there and along here. And then I can break this block and the water will flow to there. Place a button here. And then the villagers will just basically come along here and drop into that hole. So we'll probably do that next. We'll load the villagers and then we'll finish off the breeder. Okay, so we need 2 villagers, and I'm going to put them in through my bubble column. So if you get your villagers kind of here, and if we can just push them into the bubble column, then they'll pop up. Doesn't matter what kind of villager, as long as they're not zombie villagers or baby villagers. But they could be nitwits. It doesn't matter if you traded with them or you've not traded with them. Whether they've got profession, whether they've got food in their inventory already. None of that matters, okay? So we've pushed them up. Let's go and have a look. Hopefully they are at the top in their little hole. Right, here we go. So there they are. They're being a bit bouncy, but we can sort it out. So I'm just going to block this off. I want to put a glass block above the dispenser, like so. And we can break these. I can break this one for now. And I'm going to break that button and put instead a trapdoor above their heads. Just there. That can go, that can go, that can go, and that can go as well. All right, so we should have something like this. Now, this is a bit which can be a bit tricky, but what we're going to do is we're going to use a piston to push them back, and hopefully they are in the back. And then what we want to do is very quickly break the piston and place a glass block, and hopefully then we can place a large amethyst on that glass block facing towards them. And the point of this is it pushes them into the back and keeps them there. And when a baby's born, the baby will get pushed out and fall down into our baby chamber just there. Okay, so we've got our villagers in. A couple of things I want to do now. We're going to give ourselves a way up. So I want to just get rid of this for now. This is not going to go up that high. Put a couple of blocks there. And I'm going to replace this glass block with a button. Be careful the water doesn't escape when you're doing it. And that means that when, if we want to come up via the bubble column, we've got a way out here, and that'll give us a way around onto the rest of the build. But normally you shouldn't need to come up here at all. Okay, around this side, so there are villagers. Around this side, I'm going to build a platform here, which is going to be 4 wide, like this, and 3 front to back. And I'm going to build that 2 high, because we're going to use this to place beds. Now, you can have as many beds as you want or as few beds as you want. What it controls is how many villagers the breeder will store. So the first 2 beds would always be used by these guys. And then however many you got left will be how many babies you get. So I think 12 beds is about the right number. It gives you 10 villagers stored up in the breeder. But you can do more or less than that if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to place beds like so. And you'll see those villagers connect. They were part of the village down below still until we place beds here. So break these blocks here. And then we're going to place another set of beds along there. Like so. And then break these blocks as well. Done. Okay, so those are our beds. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place a block behind this observer here, a block down here, and a repeater. Grab my repeater, and I'm going to put that on 4 ticks. 1, 2, 3. So that's on 4 ticks down. And if I come around here, next to the dispenser, place a comparator. Come out here by 1, 2 blocks. And we're going to put redstone dust on top of that, like this. 1, 2. I want a torch just here, and a torch just here. Now, next to this torch, we're going to place a piston, sticky piston, just there, and have a solid block on top of that. Now, that block should be directly above the daylight sensor down here. So the one that's behind the comparator. Okay, and it is, so that's good. And this is going to tell us when we have any food left in our dispenser. So at the moment, the dispenser is empty, the piston's extended, and that will light the lamp down at the bottom. Okay, so here now underneath the torch, so it's a block down, I'm going to build a little platform like so. And I'm going to put dust here, here, and I want a comparator there and there. A solid block just here, redstone dust just there. And I'm going to put a piston, sticky piston again, just here, with an observer on it, facing out that way. So that's going to, when that gets retracted back, it'll power this block here, which will power this repeater. There's a block in front of the repeater here, sticky piston on that block, and I want an observer facing upwards just there. Okay, now build a platform. We do it with snow, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like this. I want redstone dust just here, here, here. I want a comparator there, comparator just here, a target block behind this comparator, and redstone dust just there, there, and there. Okay, so what are these circuits doing? So this is essentially it looks like a pulse extender, but the way we're going to use it, if I've got a lever I can grab, the way we're going to use it is actually as a pulse multiplier. So if I normally give that a long pulse and then let go, it's a pulse extender, it stays on for a little while, then it goes off. But if I give it a very short pulse, then you see it flashes. And that's because the single pulse doesn't have time to light both comparators. So it gets passed from one to the other, and the signal strength drops as it goes through these two redstone dust and eventually runs out. And what that does is it actually give a 12 pulses to the dispenser over here. Okay, so what about this then? So this is because normally what happens is that as a baby drops down through the string, that'll pulse this observer, which then triggers this observer here, which will give the 1 tick pulse to this circuit. Okay, but if we have run out of food, then the villagers won't get the next 12 carrots. So what we also have is this circuit here, which is a pulse extender. It's normally on, and when the food kind of comes in for the first time, so if we put carrots into here now, this would come on, the torch would come off, that would unlight this, and after a little while this observer gets attracted back and again powers our circuit over here. And why is there a delay? Well, there's a delay because I want to make sure that there's time to get 12 carrots or potatoes or beetroot into the dispenser before it starts firing, because otherwise we'll be sending pulses when there's not enough carrots there. Okay, so that delay circuit basically just gives us time to get enough food into the dispenser before we start pulsing it. Before we go on to the next bit, place a glass block just above the observer here. That just makes sure that nothing can get into there that we don't want to get into there. So we've got our baby collector, which is down here. The adults will grow up. They will come across this water stream and they'll drop down this hole. And we need somewhere to collect them, and we need some way of getting them into a trading hall when we call for them. So that's the next job. Okay, so I'm going to come down from this solid block here by 2 with glass blocks. Put a solid block underneath, go diagonally down and towards the bubble column. And then I want 6 blocks across. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Diagonally up. One more, so I've got 2 there, and then diagonally up for a single block just here. Put powered rail on there and there. I want an activator rail here, a detector rail here, and powered rail along to the end, like so. Put a torch to there, which will power this rail. A torch to there, which will power this rail. And we're going to put a trapdoor here with a torch next to it. So what's all this about? Essentially, a villager is going to come along here in a minecart. The detector rail will detect the minecart, turn off the torch, close the trapdoor. Then the villager will go across the activator rail, get pushed out onto the now closed trapdoor. But then it's off the detector rail, the torch will come back on, trapdoor will open, and the villager will drop down. And down there is, you can see the water just about maybe, is where our villager is going to fall into the trading hall. Okay, put a couple of blocks here, put a normal rail on there with a powered rail just here and a solid block behind that powered rail. Put a glass block just here, and we're going to come down diagonally like this to a glass block just above the activator rail. Put powered rail on top of these first 2 and a normal rail on top of this one, because we don't want this to be powered. Okay, if we put powered rail, this will get powered as well. We don't want it powered normally. So that's fine, but we haven't got a way of holding our villagers yet. So what we're going to do is level with the bottom of this glass block, place an iron trapdoor like this. We're going to put string above that. So string, and I'm going to need an observer as well. So string above the trapdoor, observer watching that string. So that's going to tell us when a villager's, or if a villager's in here, it'll power the observer. If there are no villagers again, it'll power the observer. Okay. So that's pretty much our collection system already. I just want to do some testing to show you how it works. So if I put a minecart on here with a button just there, and I power that, what you'll see is the minecart comes off, falls down onto a trapdoor, but then goes directly onto the powered rail. And as it falls down, it'll pick up a villager, and that villager will get taken along here and back up there. So, and the minecart goes back up. The villager will have been dropped down there. So we can watch that again. We should watch the trapdoor. Yep. Okay. So that seems to be working fine. We will need to do some spawn proofing because we want to avoid cats getting into our minecart, but we'll come to that in a moment. So I'm at the front of the build. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the signaling from the ground, so from the trading hall, using this twisted vine up to the breeder to release a villager. So level with the rail, place a block just here against the bubble column, and I want a comparator on that block. I want another block on the nose of the comparator, like this. Put a torch on top of there, and a solid block above it, and some redstone dust just here. Okay, and you'll see that redstone dust is lit at the moment, and the minecart's going. We're going to stop that in a second, and we're going to put a furnace just there, and place an item into that furnace. Doesn't matter what it is, any old item. I'm going to put some string. Okay, so now the comparator's lit, the torch is off, and the redstone dust is off, so the minecart stays in place. Put a temporary block just here, because we're going to put a sticky piston here, like this. And then what I want is another sticky piston facing this way with a solid block on its nose. And I want an observer watching the twisted vine. So level with all of that, an observer just here. And finally, another piston just there. Sticky piston again with an observer. And this looks kind of quite complicated. Oops, the observer needs to be facing outwards like that. Okay, so its face is coming towards me here. So this looks like a fairly complicated system, but it's not really. The idea is that we want to trigger whenever the twisted vine grows, but we don't want to trigger again when we break it. We've got to break that so that it signal next time. So let me just break it now, and we'll go down 1, and you'll see that triggers once, and then the minecart sets off. I'm also going to put a glass block above here, and that prevents twisted vine from growing any further. So just note, this twisted vine won't grow on its own because it's too tall to do that, but it will grow with bone meal. So if I have some bone meal, let's grab some bone meal, and I can do a quick demo. If I bone meal this twisted vine, it will grow. This circuit will trigger once, the minecart will set off, and that's exactly what we want. We've got one final circuit to put in now, and that is behind this observer here, which is watching the string above the trapdoor. So this will trigger whenever we either have villagers, the first villager arrives, or the last villager leaves. Okay, so put a block behind the observer. Put glass along this rail here, all the way along up to the trapdoor. So that's 4 pieces of glass. Redstone dust just here. And what we want to do is essentially we're going to power this second daylight sensor, which is down below there. We're going to do that using a dispenser and powder snow. So I'm going to put temporary block just here. I put my dispenser above that. And I'm going to put powder snow into that dispenser. Get rid of that for now. And so I just basically need to join these up, and I need to make sure that I avoid blocking this trapdoor here where the village is going to go. So basically take some glass, put it on the side there, go up diagonally like this, then across like this, across one more, and then we're going to have a target block just here. In fact, any old block will do target block. Redstone dust along there, fill all of that in. So now when the observer triggers, it'll power this dispenser and it'll output the power to snow. But we want this to be covered to start with, because that will light our light saying there are no villagers. So there are no adult villagers. We put a button on there and just put the power to snow out to start with. Okay. Final thing we need to do is just make sure our village is going to end up in the right place. And I'm going to do that by putting a glass block above this torch here and one more above that. And that just means they line up on the trapdoor correctly and don't go anywhere else. Then I need to box in my villagers. Make sure they don't escape or fall out. With glass on both sides of there. And I need to make sure that cats can't get into my minecart. So we're kind of mostly okay, but a few places they can spawn on here. For example, they can spawn on here. We just need to make sure that's all covered. So I'm going to start off by putting glass above there, running that along. I'm going to run this up to the top here, like so, just to make sure that's all covered. Don't block this space, because obviously the observer's coming out. And I'm also going to just then cover, cover this up here, and I want to cover all of my rail like this, so I don't get in the way of the rail. At the moment, cats could still drop down here, 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 and onto the rail, so I need to stop that. And I'm just going to do that by running this along here, like that. So now there should be hopefully nowhere that cats can fall down onto our rail system, except they could spawn here. So put a glass block there as well. Okay. And that is our breeder done. And we just need to quickly do some testing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure that if I had a villager here, obviously I've been creative, so it's easier for me. If I've got a villager here, then when I press this button, the minecart will set off. It'll pick up the villager. It'll drop them onto the trapdoor. I'm going to kill him because I don't want him in my trading hall. And the minecart is back up there. So that's all good. The second thing we'll do is we're going to just test the breeding process. So at the moment, the villagers don't have food. They're not breeding. There's nothing in here. So we'll go down. We'll check our lights are set correctly. And we'll do some breeding. Okay, so as you can see, both lights are lit, low on carrots and no adult villagers, which is correct. That's how it is. It should be at the moment. If we put some carrots in here, then they will start going up there. And hopefully 12 of them will be given to the breeders and they'll start breeding. So this light won't go off until there's about 42 carrots in the dispenser. So that'll take a little while, but hopefully that we'll see it turn off in just a second. Obviously, this one, we have to wait for adult villagers to grow up. So a baby won't turn this off. It's only adult villagers who will turn it off. Okay. So hopefully in just a moment, yeah, that's gone off. Let's go up to the top and let's see if we're getting some babies out of this system. So our circuit here should have fed the villagers some carrots by now. And they should be having a think about making babies. Let's just see, that's probably most of the carrots gone now. Are we done? Yeah. So in theory, yeah, there's 12 carrots missing out of my stack. So that means that those 12 carrots have been given to these villagers and very shortly they should start breeding. Okay, it's actually took a little while, but they are now breeding and hopefully we'll see a baby drop down here in a second. There we go. And more carrots have been fed to the villagers. So they will now make a second baby very soon. So that's it. It's all up and running, working, and you can feed your trading hall from this system. We haven't tested the adult villagers, but you should be able to see the showcase I showed earlier, how that works. And hopefully you will have no problems with it. Okay, it's just about 20 minutes later. and we now have our adult villagers waiting to go into the trading hall. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I know it's been a long video. There is one more to come, and that will be when we add the iron farm to this whole system here, and that'll sit on top of the trading hall down there. So hopefully, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe and keep an eye out for that video. It will be coming very soon, I promise. All right, take care. Bye-bye.